and they win the NFC South.
What's good, everybody? Let's talk some Tampa sports. It is that week. The Bucs play their second divisional opponent of the season. And this week, we got them Aints. So, coming off that ugly loss, we get to wash our hands clean with a 1-6 New Orleans team in New Orleans. What a beautiful opportunity. This team's going to be pissed off. They played bad. They accept that. They get to cut up that film, re-energize, play for Mike Evans, and this is the get-back game for this Bucs team. Win this, go into a bye week, some players get healthy, you move from there. So, in this video, week 8 of the Opps, we're going to break down the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to give my opinions on the New Orleans Saints, and there's not a ton to say. It should be a pretty quick video. So, one thing I do want to say about the Saints is, well, first off, I have to ask you guys, is it possible to be a sneaky 1-6? Is it possible to be a sneaky 1-6? Because if it is, the Saints are a sneaky 1-6. They're 1-6, but I think they can beat up on the Jets. I think they can beat Tennessee. I think they can beat Miami. They can compete with like a Cleveland. They've already proven they've beat the New York Giants. It's a sneaky 1-6, if that is a thing. If you guys will allow that, they're a sneaky 1-6, especially at home. That is the key. At home, in the Superdome, Spencer Rattler has his best performances by far, and the team just as a whole is able to grab that energy that they can build up in the Superdome and compete with anyone. And I'm not lying when I say that. Arizona, that's a very good defense, not the greatest offense, but a very good defense. They lose a one-score game at home. San Francisco, that's a good team, one-score game at home. Seattle and Buffalo, those are two very good teams on the road. Once again, I said they don't play very good or as good on the road. Score shows there, but once again, it's Seattle, it's Buffalo. Those are two very good teams. Then they beat the Giants at home. Then the 5-2 New England Patriots. Saints only lose by one score. And then they do have a pretty ugly game in Chicago. That score probably doesn't tell how ugly it was, but it was pretty ugly. It's a sneaky 1-6, once again, if you guys will allow that. With the New Orleans Saints, everything starts with their quarterback, Spencer Rattler. In his second season, I actually went to the game last year in New Orleans, so that was Spencer Rattler's first start. So I saw Spencer Rattler's first start, and the Bucs ended up, it got a little weird there for a second in New Orleans. But that 50 burger, watching that in person, beautiful time. Had such a good time in New Orleans. Wish I can go back this year, but I will be here watching at home. So, Spencer Rattler, it's hard to really build an opinion because he's just like right in that in-between spot. He's not bad enough to where I don't think the fan base should be screaming, and I don't think their fan base is screaming, put in Tyler Shuck now. But he's also bad enough to where the coach is being questioned about it in post-game interviews, and the coach is saying it's a week-to-week thing. So he's not like grabbing onto that job and saying, this is mine. And looking at their schedule, I'm curious how long that lasts. They got us, then they got the Rams, and then they got 2 divisional games. If this goes 0-4 here, going up against Miami, I can definitely see the Saints saying, okay, now's the time to flip that switch and give the second-round pick an opportunity. Rattler's numbers on the year, 1450 through the air, 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, obviously. Those aren't terrible numbers, but we've obviously seen much better quarterbacks and much better offenses as a whole, much better defenses as a whole. They are all 1-6 at the end of the day. There's not a ton of established, proven talent on this team. We'll get into that, but they're sneaky. And I know the Bucs aren't going to take them lightly. It's a divisional game. Anything can happen. Anything can happen in divisional games. You can never take a divisional opponent lightly. I don't care if we're 5-2, they're 1-6. You got to lock in because they know us. We know them. That's just how it goes. It's the NFL. Starting with their offense, I do want to call out a couple key injuries. They've been a pretty healthy team. I mean, honestly, up until last week, they've been a pretty healthy team. They've had some good luck with injuries. But last week, that luck did fade a bit. And unfortunately, Keandre Miller, who is their backup running back, he has gotten a good amount of carries on the season. Let's see, 47 carries, 193 yards, 4.1 yards per rush, which is actually a whole half yard higher than Alvin Kamara. And then he did have 1 touchdown on the season. He tore his ACL and will be out for the remainder of the season, unfortunately. So when you look at what's behind Alvin Kamara, it's Keandre Miller, who is out, Spencer Rattler, your quarterback, and then Devin Neal, who is a rookie, went to Kansas, I believe. He only has 3 carries for 10 yards. So they're going to either be leaning on Alvin Kamara a ton, which for a 30-year-old running back typically is not ideal, or you are going to be giving this rookie, who's only had 3 carries through 7 games, a ton more run. Out wide, you got some familiar faces. Even though it's F the Saints, it's nice to see Olave healthy. It's nice to see Shaheed healthy. Olave having a pretty good season so far this year. Like I said, the health look has been better. Shaheed injured last year, doing what Shaheed does. Brandon Cooks was an offseason pickup. It's been kind of ugly there for Cooks. I can't lie. I don't think that pickup has worked out too well for them. And then just showing their numbers here for their receiving. Of course, Olave and Shaheed leading the way. Then it goes Jawan Johnson, pretty talented tight end with 315 and a touchdown. And then goes Brandon Cooks, Kamara from there. On their offensive line, continuing with the injury talk, they did lose out on Eric McCoy. Starting center, honestly, probably just looking at overall players on their team, probably the best overall player on their team. Definitely on offense. Just overall, he would probably be the only player on this offense where I'll say at this stage in their career, they are a Pro Bowl level player. Eric McCoy was. So he did go out with injury last week, unfortunately, so he will be missed. That will be something we'll talk about tomorrow with a weak spot in the Saints interior where the Bucs have a 350-pound 6'4" guy who is very talented in the interior. That'll be a talking point tomorrow. On the outside, you got 2 very young but talented tackles. Kelvin Banks Jr., tackle out of Texas, rookie first-round pick this year. And then you have Fuaga, who was a first-round pick last year out of Oregon State. So they got some young talent at their tackle positions. I think that's it for their offense. Moving to their defense, there's some young pieces here. McKinstry, young. He leads the team with 2 interceptions. Quincy Riley has continued to get more and more playing time. He's a rookie. Alante Taylor, still there doing what he does in that nickel position. And then you get to the defensive line. Carl Granderson, we've seen him. We know what he is. He does have 4.5 sacks through 7 games, which is probably the best production he's had so far as an NFL player. Once again, it's only through 7 games. He could go through a lull, or he could carry this on, which would be pretty impressive. Then you got Chase Young. He's been back for 2 games. And on the interior, it's a lot of Cam Jordan still moping around. Brian Brees. There's a couple other guys, Nathan Shepard, Godshaw, that they sub in and out. So when you look at what we just had to deal with on Monday between DJ Reader, Ali McNeil, and Aiden Hutchinson, we're not dealing with anything in the same atmosphere, the same galaxy as that. On the second level, Demario Davis still doing his thing. Pete Werner, another I've seen him make some good plays. At the same time, I don't know if he's a for sure long-term option. And then looking on the back end, you got another rookie in Jonas Sanker, who is graded pretty well, 3rd-round pick. So there's Quincy Riley, there's Jonas Sanker. That's 2 guys from this draft on that defense getting significant playing time. And then at the free safety position, you do have Justin Reed back there. So there's not a ton to talk about. Like I said, we know this team well. They're not a team to be taken lightly just due to the fact that they are a divisional opponent. It is on the road. It is a atmosphere where if they get any bit of momentum, that place pops. I was there last year. They weren't a very good team last year, but when that game got close, it got loud. You can feel momentum swings in that building. So Bucs just got to do what they got to do. They've been successful against the Saints. I think they've won 5 of the last 6 matchups. So Keep doing that. Team's going to be motivated. Team's going to be hungry, starving, and play for Mike Evans. I mean, there's no bigger motivation than the best offensive player in Buccaneers history fighting to come back from a hamstring injury. He finally makes it back and then goes down with a injury that will likely put him out almost the full season. I do expect to see Mike Evans again this season. So, play for Mike. Be motivated. Look at what happened last week. Be pissed off. Go into New Orleans ready to throw hands. Like I said, not too much to talk about. Who knows? Maybe in Week 14, we end up seeing a different starting quarterback when the Saints come to Tampa. Who knows? So, I'm going to enjoy this game. This is a get-right game right before a get-right game that you got to take seriously right before the bye week, where this team desperately needs a bye week, desperately needs to get healthy. Hopefully after that bye week, we could see a Bucky, we could see a Godwin, maybe even a Gadecki. Please, we need some help. That's going to be it for me. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. The preview will come out tomorrow where we talk about the matchups, game plan, things like that. So once again, like and subscribe. Go Bucs. You all have a blessed one.